Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Everybody's out there on the dock. They're doing what we call Bahama Rock.
Good morning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Thursday, the 11th of July, 2024, and you're on the clock with Erin, Greene. Had to start the show with a little Ronnie Butler, Bahama Rock. Just one of my absolute favorites. And of course, a reminder that the animation Nassau Rock premieres tonight at Fusion Superplex. Now, I've been hearing that the show is sold out, but I've also heard, still try make your way. They may be able to accommodate more viewers. Nassau Rock, Bahamian animation. We had guests in earlier this week or last week. It's been such a whirlwind to talk about it. That's tonight at Fusion Superplex. Also happening tonight for my Hannah Hasty Tynes family. We are days away from the 2024 family reunion, and we are hosting a Zoom meeting tonight. We're hosting a Zoom meeting tonight for all latecomers to gather as much information as possible about ways and options to register for the entire event. Or don't worry, don't stress out. You can't make it to everything. You are able to register for individual events like the beach picnic, the meet and greet, the breakfast meeting, where we will be conducting family association business. So we ask all HHT members to definitely attend the Friday morning breakfast meeting. There's a Saturday beach picnic, and then our Sunday church service. We are getting ready to welcome family members from all over the globe. Let me welcome one right now. Good morning, Mr. Cianuri.
Hey, cousin. If I could use that term now.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if it's too late to register.
No.
So I still could because I last minute.
Right.
Last minute.
We understand that there are financial constraints that
I broke and I cheap.
and you may have to wait until the right point in your pay cycle to
Plus,
be
there's
able to
plenty
pay.
of us.
Yeah. So we are accommodating all family members. We don't want anybody who want to be there to not be there. And if you don't want to be there, we still want you to come. We still want you to come get some hugs, some kisses.
So you say
and some
it
pinches.
is not too late?
No, it's not too late at all. So if you would like to be a part of this Zoom meeting tonight, make sure that you have been added to the HHT Reunion WhatsApp group.
Okay.
If you're in the Family is Everything WhatsApp group, you can find the link there as well. You can message Erin Greene on Facebook, right? I got a couple of questions I have to ask, because everybody won't be a part of the Hannah Hasty Tynes family.
Everybody related to him.
And well, that's the better part. We all family. And I can get the Zoom link. I can add you to the reunion group, and you can get the Zoom link and all reunion registration details lie within the reunion group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. What if I just want general family information, like history of the Hannah Hasty Tynes or family tree or
Right.
whatever
So I
it
would
is?
say the two best events would then be the meet and greet on the Thursday evening or the breakfast meeting on the Friday morning. Of course, the family soiree on the Friday evening gives a great chance to sort of casual, relax, and chit-chat and network. But I think the meet and greet and the family meeting Thursday and Friday morning, respectively, will be the best opportunities to get family information and to ensure that your family information is recorded in the family tree
Okay, thanks.
and the family directory. Absolutely, it's going to be... Somebody say, tell me how CA get your family. You know he's a genealogist, right?
I do history. I do genealogy
And family trees.
and family trees. Yeah.
He's my cousin because he know how come they couldn't find Jerry Roker in town.
Yes, I am on the Hannah family tree, and I'm on the Hasty
Family tree as well. He's more HHT than me.
I double so far. I'm not triple like some people.
Yeah, like
but I'm double.
And Iris Tynes.
Yes,
she's triple, right?
Yes,
And
she's triple.
Chair Tira Hannah Smith, she's triple.
She's triple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all on 3 trees.
Producer, play that song by Monty G. We just play the intro. This song was featured in Kareem Mortimer's film Children of God that was on HBO.
Nice.
Yeah.
I believe as Bahamians, we
Go
have
ahead,
to come
folks.
together and fight this rise of crime and violence in our nation. You know, that's just my belief. I'm beauty, I'm beauty, I'm beautiful you are. My Bamalan, my Bamalan. Lift up your hands to the rising sun. Bamalan, yes, we're marching.
That's Monty G. Monty G is a gospel artist, actually. His focus is gospel music, and he has an amazing catalog of music that every Bahamian should check out. Now play the one by Nakaz, producer. See, I did miss y'all on the 9th, Mr. Nuri. I was out scouting for Chickchani to ensure that they were prepared for their independence duties. I made my way all the way out to Clifton Heritage,
What is doing at Clifton Heritage?
camping.
There's
and
camp at-
I'm talking to Chickchani.
There's camp at Clifton Heritage?
They have camp sites
At Clifton Heritage?
at Clifton Heritage. I can tell you more in a bit. Because I want to ask people how they celebrated their independence.
Oh, okay.
And we talk a bit about Junkanoo maybe, but national honors we got to talk about.
If you don't like no rake and scrape dirty, that's your business. But as for me, I got an addiction, and I ain't seen no doctor. I don't need prescription. I like to dance, I like to move. I feel a rake and scrape from the head to my shoes. I wanna party with everybody, cause in the moment, I got no worries, cause I feel the tempo. Start lose control, and if you don't know, it's time to let the world know.
That is Nakaz. That's the young man that brought us. I'm a Bahamian. I don't go in water. I just go to profile with some body daughter. That's what we used to do on the beach. I not mad at the young man. That's what we used to do. It's okay. We have to learn who we are so that we could learn how to love ourselves. But the significance of the song, this is called 242 to the Globe, Golden Anniversary Bahamas Remix. So when you're talking about Elkin 360, put some respect on his name, because his song Golden Anniversary Bahamas done inspire a whole bunch of covers and remixes. And that is the magic of it. His music inspires some people to be Bahamian, be a better Bahamian, know more about their country, to be a better Bahamian for children. So the children could see a good model, right? And for other people, they were inspired to make more music, to take what he gave us and enhance it. And you say, his song is perfect, but this is a beautiful addition. Now, producer, I want you to play the song by Overdose featuring Alina. Now, Nuri, this was my independence, baby. This was my gift. Like, the universe gave it to me for independence. So I may have pestered somebody, Daddy, DJ Overdose, Daddy, to tell him it's time to start sampling Bahamian classics. So he made this rhythm called Red Shade. This song is by Alina, Sweet Jams Only.
What's the move, man? Sweet jams only. True now. We can reach, I get paid. Get my girls down on bay. Driving round, reach the first spot. Just walking, freak shots. We sweet, we fine. Free drinks all night. You already know how that goes. Some baby man gets early. Take our drinks. We ready to dance. Look at my girls. You know our next plans. Ready to wine. Take your time. Lose your mind. Just baseline. I turn round, my friend gone. Got me dancing on my own.
Yuri, have you heard Red Shade Rhythm before?
No.
I am in love with this rhythm, right? First of all, because ancient man's, I guess, resurgence on the scene marked the rebirth of rake and scrape. He brought that old school guttural rake and scrape back to the airwaves, and now that song may be the rudest of all the songs in Ancient Man catalog, Red Shade, but that rhythm is sweet. And that's how you know you have a classic, right? Because you've inspired other Bahamians to make more of it. They acknowledge how brilliant it is in and of itself, and then they make it even better by adding some more flair to it. I just love them songs. So here are the other songs I have on deck. Maybe I play some more of what we've heard so far, but you got to put Papa Smurf, I Am a Bahamian, on the list. Say it out loud, I Am a Bahamian. Stalit Rakin and the Scrapin' is a classic. KB, I's a Bahamian, and then of course D-Mac, the Garland song, and I want to add Boatman by KB to that as well. So we're going to talk about the national honors in a moment. Of course, I have to recognize and say congratulations to my own mother, Mrs. Leela Greene, who is being honored this year, along with my good uncle. They all good, you know, but my good uncle, Patrick Bailey. He has passed away. It's a posthumous award. But I have to say congratulations to them. We're going to get to the list in a moment. Producer, tell my guest to come in studio, and then let's take these calls as he gets settled. Give me one of those calls, producer. I can take this one. Oh, there we go. Good morning, caller.
Calling David Slack, Universe, along with you, Erin, pretty Erin Greene.
Good morning, Bremen. How you doing?
I'm all in, thank God. Couple of things. You know, every time you talk about your mommy,
Yes.
you know, I've met her on one or two occasions, and she's a very decent woman, and also pretty with it.
Thank you, Bremen. I can accept that on her behalf.
Decent, you know, to speak to people, you know, the hard people, the public.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
She's decent. Other thing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish the police could start on what you would call house planning, what you call that?
Urban planning.
What is plan area for houses and stuff like that?
Town planning and urban planning.
Yeah, well, they're allowing a lot of too much foolishness happening in Spence Street off Mason Sedition. They got to come through here and fix through here. You see, when I got my house built, you see, not only that, my house, see, this is not a shack. And the people that live on the east and the west side of me got to realize that. And a couple of them doesn't have any, toilet.
I got you, Bremen.
You see what I'm saying?
Bremen, I want you to trust me that I
didn't hear you.
I said, I want you to trust me that I understand what you're saying. I got to go. Give me a moment to reiterate it.
Man, something needs to be done.
Absolutely.
The government doing foolishness, man.
Absolutely, Bremen. Thank you very much. So I appreciate what Bremen is saying. Bremen is saying that he knows that the Royal Bahamas Police Force plays a part in town planning. From the street vendor all the way to the brick and mortar business, the police are involved, and they have to make an assessment and determine if the space is fit for purpose, if the activity that the applicant wants to conduct in that space is appropriate for that space. But I think it goes beyond that, Bremen. What we really need is for constituency offices to organize like a unit or a team that will be constantly assessing the development in the constituency. We need a protocol, right? Like we need a standardized process and protocol from the town planning to give to whoever's been assigned to these constituency teams so they know what type of information they're looking for and how they need to document it, right? They understand the procedures and the regulations are in place, because We walk in this fine line with with the right to privacy, but this could be taken on at a constituency level with intersection of the relevant government agencies, including the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But I hope that the Royal Bahamas Police Force also understands that as a partner in the community, that state agencies rely on them being like first responders, conducting mobile patrol exercises in particular communities. You are the first responder. You are on the street. You are observing what state actors wait for a call to say, we need you to come and observe, right? And so there's a partnership, and that partnership can work successfully if constituency teams organize units of people who can then liaise with state agencies. Brayman, I want you to know that I've taken your concern, and it's not a complaint, it's a big concern, very seriously, and I hope that we could move forward with that. Joining me in studio this morning is Mr. Trevor Davis. He is proprietor at Alpha Sounds. I know he heard me playing this music this morning, and he's like, I can't miss this. But also, he is the interim chairman of the Valley Boys group in this process, I guess, of restructuring or attempting to restructure the organization. Now, I spent independence in the bush. I had to organize my Chickchanis, went camping. Clifton Heritage has a wonderful facility. I spent my time away from the city, but the city was constantly with us. I mean, that's a plug for the excellent Wi-Fi coverage. But also, I was engaged in conversations about what was happening on Bay, even though I was deep in the bush. And I think I've said it perhaps not on air, articulated it in this way, but Junkanoo is one of the most important social spaces for Bahamian development. It is the space where Bahamians volunteer their time, their energy, their resources, their money. Nobody have to force them to come to the shack and Junkanoo. This is perhaps the last bastion for entrenching, for shoring up, for strengthening Bahamian culture and the development of Bahamian culture. I, as a Bahamian, a Junkanoo, a social commentator, and an advocate, am very concerned about what I perceive to be an administrative crisis, in the cultural space, a leadership crisis, where a number of our premier or most important institutions seem to be plagued with conflict and issues surrounding leadership, how authority is supposed to operate, and how these organizations are supposed to function. We've seen it happen in the church, multiple occasions over the decades. Last year was fraught with discussion about leadership challenges in prominent churches that hold not just a prominent space in their community, but in the country as a whole. We see in politics with the various conventions and public discourse around political party business. We see what appears to be a disruption or a dysfunction in leadership. Turn to the unions. This country was built on the labor movement. It was built by unionists. And here we are in 2024 with a prominent union leader revealing to the public in the Labor Day parade that the trade congresses that signed a memorandum of understanding with the PLP while in opposition, and this is what I infer from his statements, made an agreement to attempt to quell all and any industrial unrest for the duration of the administration. That is unthinkable. That is unheard of. But that's not the best part. The best part is we saw shortly after that the formation of a third trade congress, where the members of those two congresses decided that they could no longer work under that leadership. And I imagine that they took with them the unions who had also protested not just the signing of the memorandum of understanding, but the refusal of the opposition to acknowledge that in one Congress, members had been demanding elections for over 2.5 years. Members made it public that they can't understand why a leader would sign an agreement without consulting its members, given the status of that leadership's tenure, given that those members have been demanding an election. And here we are now in 2024, where it seems as if the Junkanoo world is also plagued with the same either dysfunctional leadership culture or dysfunction in leadership. That's the avenue that I come in from. Here's the second door that I walk into this conversation from. As a social commentator and holding the space on the radio, I engage conversations that are important. Junkanoo is important. But I have been shown by the Junkanoo world as a whole that my voice does not matter. In fact, Junkanoos refuse to come on my show, and I can only imagine because they don't want to participate in validating my voice as a social commentator on this issue. So to the individuals, the grown men this weekend who plagued me with, you don't know how the JCNP work and you don't know the rules, when I indicated that they should adjudicate or should have a process for adjudication for matters like this. You go and ask the JCNP leadership how many times I have invited them on this show. You go and ask them how many times I've reached out to their leader. You go and ask them how many times they've heard me invite them publicly onto my show, and then ask them how many times they've appeared. You do that. And then you tell me whether my journey, right, this little journey into discourse around Junkanoo is valid or not. So, Mr. Davis, I was not on Bay Street to see what happened. But what I do know is that people are concerned. Long-term Valley Boy supporters, members of the Junkanoo committee. Like my mother, she never rushed for the Saxons, but she's a Saxon, right? And people who aren't even a part of the Valley are concerned. And that is why I would like to bring this conversation to the public domain. So, Mr. Davis, tell us, what happened at the People's Unity Rush?
First of all, let me say good morning to your listeners and good morning to the Bahamas in its entirety. But most important, I want to say a special thanks to our sponsor, Think Simple, Breezes Hotel, and to the members of the Valley Boys who showed up, who was happy to be a part of the independence celebration. And I'm sure persons could have seen it on their face. They could have seen it in the way they perform. And they could see the energy that we would have brought on May Street. And we intentionally wanted to come after the Saxons and allow persons to wait, and all the other Junkanoos to wait for us, because they all had wanted to know what it is that we was bringing to Bay Street. They all wanted to know what's going to happen. And then they start comparing the other group to us, and they saying, let's look at faces, let's look at identification, let's see who is who. Mm-hmm. And so that was the reason why most of them stayed. And I'm sure they're happy that they stayed, and I'm sure they got what they were staying for.
Well, that moment, I think, is important for Junkanoo as a whole. I think this People's Unity Rush is more important, this particular one is more important than the Boxing Day and the New Year's Day, because in the Junkanoo world, it's the performance that validates the group. You could have all kind of talk, all kind of fanfare at the practice. It's the performance that validates the group.
Yes, it's definitely the performance that validates the group, but what also validated us, I think, yesterday morning was when the fans started to applaud and they started to say, yes, this is it. This is the real Valley Boys. I see persons I can identify with.
Absolutely.
They hear the music. They saw the presentation. Mm-hmm. They heard the fanfare, Who Are We the Valley, and the synchronization with the drums and the percussionists. And so people were able to identify, and then with that movement, as we went down Bay Street, you see the fans start to follow us down. So you know then and only then that we were validated. And then you went from there onto the social media pages and TikTok, every social media pages that was comparing, and the proof is in the pudding.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I observed over the weekend is a lot of participation in conversations in social media about what's happening with the Valley Boys. And more importantly, what's happening with Junkanoo. Is this an omen? a signal for Junkanoo as a whole to pay attention to, I guess, the structural integrity of the space. But for those who have not heard the details of the conference, if we could just briefly run through why it is you are now here as the interim chairman.
Okay, so let me just go through for the details for your personal getting to understand for the first time what had happened. Obviously, everybody knows the Valley Boys has been around for the last 65 years. But for the last 65 years, the group had failed to register as a non-profit organization, even though the act just came into existence in 2019, but you failed to register. But not only that they failed to register, I think the reason why 80% of the members now follow us in that direction as we move forward is because of the lack of a lot of other stuff that happened inside. You talk about the union a while ago and the failure to have fair elections. You talk about accountability. You talk about transparency. You just talk about the overall management of members that give their time and service for free, and even to a lot of cases spend money out of their pocket. And the members of this organization for years were saying, listen, we have a voice, we want our voices to be heard. Not for the love of Junkanoo that you got continue to take advantage of us. And so hence is the reason why you see this uprise, because persons keep crying out the villainous. And it just so happened that I was the one that they called to help, and you asked me today how I get back into the flow of all of this. But I noted that the organization needed help, and so with that I say, you know what, I could offer my service. There's a lot I could still bring, but not just me personally offering my service. There's a group of talented young persons in this organization who has been denied the opportunity to excel to the top ranks because of the fact that there was no election, there was no accountability, no transparency. And so when we came up with the idea that, look, let's sit to the table, let's include some other persons, because guess what? The Valley Boys, as we know it, and our fans know it, has been very disappointed over the years. We haven't won a Boxing Day parade from 2015. That's not the Valley Boys you grew up knowing.
No.
And so obviously, if you start to go on the slippery slope, something has to be wrong. And all we are saying is, let's stop, let's check, let's see what is wrong. Open up the doors up for new ideas, open the doors up for new creativity. And more importantly, let's treat our members like members. And this just happened overnight. We were knocking on the doors and trying to get the former management team to sit down with the members. And to their refusal, the same thing they used to keep us out, the non-constitution, the non-structure, the non-NPO, was the same thing that we used to come back and the members say, now the group belongs to us. So technically, the old management system has been fired by its members, not me. I'm only one person. And people have to understand that. I know a lot of persons keep saying Trevor Davis. It's not Trevor Davis alone. I get 1,000 behind me, and that's the shoulders I'm standing on.
So let's talk just briefly specific outcomes from the Way Forward group.
So the Way Forward was just a name that we came up with. Again, when I decided to take this on, I called some of the intellects from an organization was going through the same thing, but I think all the challenges in the past didn't reach the success where we are now because it was a lot of individual persons that's going at it. But I think because we was able to come together collectively and say, how do we move forward? And the name that stick with it, the Way Forward, and we keep pushing the way forward and start to resonate with people. And you hear people say, we're moving forward, this is the way forward. Because what's in the past, we granted in the past, we forgive you for what you would have done to us in the past. But listen here, it's time to move forward, and we're moving forward.
Absolutely.
And sorry, just to interrupt. And when persons on social media started to compare the presentation by the way we're moving forward to what was in the past, it was evident on Bay Street. And that's what I want to be very careful of, because that's not the Valley standard. That's definitely not the standard when you have to fly persons in to be a part of the Valley Boys Junkanoo group. When you have to get persons who don't understand the technique, what makes you a Valley Boy. You can't even go on Bay Street and do a proper "Who Are We" Valley Boy chat. Persons don't even know how to respond. And so I was very concerned about that. We're concerned about that. And so if you are original Valley Boy and you're still on the fence, you still wasn't sure what's going on, I sure yesterday morning was very clear to you. And we welcome you back into your group where you belong.
Absolutely. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, I have a question for the
No,
brother.
okay. Now, Bremen, you live in Saxon's Town.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Just making.
I understand what's happening.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I want to ask him, right? I'm a Saxon now, you know that, okay? But what I want to ask you, why is it that you brought your inside business, to the public? Is that going to cause a problem with other groups now? And we have some leaders who have been there from their time. They are loved by some people. They are not loved by some people. But the thing is, we all was in union. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to bring your dirty laundry to the public and everybody take a part of it and, everybody go behind the same thing, and that's going to create a problem.
I feel you, Bremen. I tell you what, when I was being stalked by telephone for over 3 years, right? I feel like if I didn't talk about it publicly on the radio, I wouldn't even have had the result of the police coming to my house and telling me, and my good Mrs. Leela Greene, who getting honored by the government, Batelco has determined that the threat is not sufficient to warrant further investigation. Sometimes you got to bring things to the public. Sometimes silence and invisibility, a lack of visibility, is a tool.
Yeah,
right?
So let me just say to the gentleman, and we talk about why we have to bring it public. Transparency. You asking men, now you asking females to be in these jungle shacks away from their families to the extent where they're using their own personal money to go down Bay Street, but don't have a voice, and now you got asked why bring it public? What about your son? What about your grandchildren? Mm-hmm. Dirty laundry? This is Junkanoo. Is nothing such thing as dirty laundry. Dirty laundry is when you can't come and speak about it. And what is the hidden secret? Why we can't be accountable? Why can't we have transparency? So if you're saying that there's dirt in the Junkanoo world and we shouldn't talk about it, come on, it's time to clean it up. That's all we're saying. Let's put everything on one accord. Clean it up.
Absolutely. Let's go to the caller, and then I have some texts here. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Greene. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, and good morning, Mr. Davis. Papa here.
Morning, Papa.
Mr. Davis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, Papa.
Okay. Gee, what I really want to know before I forget, I didn't listen to the parade or the independence celebration. I wasn't in the bush with Dick Cheney and all that, no, but I just didn't tune in like
Dick
that.
Cheney was in the bush with us?
No, but what I wanted to find out, because I kind of concerned and I should have listened, but wasn't feeling it like that. How did the parade go? Why after what we should expect for the next celebration? Either I don't know if that's Boxing Day or New Year's or Boxing Day or something. If it can get better, if Mr. I don't call no names. Then the other side, the what you call it, the world famous there. If they get it sorted out now, because I listen to the news and I hear the lawyer, Ms. Parkinson, was saying something. I think they get that part sorted out of the registration with the name and stuff like that. So maybe you could bring us up to date with that. But Friday or Thursday when they was on, the guys who represent what you represent, Mr. Davis, I had to tell them to let you know that when I first said it sounded like Trevor Davis come to take over or something, and I didn't appreciate or was informed enough to know how far Trevor Davis come from with the Wally Boys or the Junkanoo community and what you just be doing. I know you're a nice guy and all that. I know about you and everything, but I felt like you needed to shut up and go sit down and all that. But I had to apologize and take that back, Mr. Davis, because you representing what the people need. It's all about. It ain't about one person. It's about what the people them need. And what wasn't do, it's always room for improvement, but, it was a mix-up and stuff. But I really like to know, how did it go? Did you play good? Did the crowd understand which part was the Wally? If we have to go through that again in Boxing Day to be sorting that out, or how it is now. And people like recognize people's faces and stuff like that. I just wondered, like, how if there's any more space for the rest of them, I'm calling names Adley and stuff like them, could come back and sit down to the table and bring all of them, because, all us is Wally. But now I understand. I go in with the which you push. I mean, with you as the chairman for. I think that's the original Wally Boys and the real Wally Boys. But their mother said it's Wally Boys too, and they need to come over and stop this foolishness. You keep up the good work, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Papa.
God bless you.
I don't even think
you,
it's
Papa.
a matter of coming over. I think it's just a matter of acknowledging that there are no doors. The barriers are temporary. They don't exist, and they don't have to exist.
The barriers don't have to exist. The barriers only exist because persons refuse to sit down to the table and listen to its members. And they still want to push, and just the reason why they went and registered the world famous Valley Boys. But you cannot register the world famous Valley Boys if the Valley Boys is already registered. So obviously there was some mistakes that were made by the registrar. And, the lawyer spoke to it, so we get 30 days, and in 30 days, they have a choice.
Okay.
Based on the law.
All
Change the name or
Absolutely.
have it
When we
revoked.
come back from the break, I give you these texts now. Is this group registered with the JNCP for the upcoming parades, Boxing Day and New Year's? And did one group have numbers and the other didn't? Did one group have a good performance and the other didn't? Or did both groups perform well? So when we get back from the break, we'll delve into them, and then we're gonna play some music for you, Mr. Davis. We'll be right back. You're on the clock.
My
with-
favorite song.
Yeah, this got to be one of the best.
Everybody's out there on the dock. They're doing what we call the Harlem Rock. Hey, hey, hey. Oh yeah, the Harlem Rock.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. You can buy your local paper at Freeport Convenience Stores, Western Bakery, DeGregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Now is the time to reach your Grand Bahama market with affordable packages, including print and digital. Call GB News sales representative Kavandre at 822-6717 or message him on WhatsApp for ad rates. Classified ads are now available every Tuesday as well. Keep up with everything Grand Bahamian every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian.
Current Cut Productions presents Papa Joe's Cafe. Watch Joe, the cafe owner, grapple with the grief and chaos of daily life, surrounded by nosy cooks, a mouthy waitress, and a parade of lively characters. With themes of political satire, romance, and betrayal, this is a story you won't want to miss. Join us for an unforgettable stage play at the Performing Arts Center at UB on July 12th and 13th.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Back of the truck, grab the guitar, pick up the drums, do some sculling, break it straight. Break it! Break it straight, boy! Let's go! Oh, wake up early in the morning, we jump on the back of his truck. Me, Derry, and we go them, all of we just wake up. Let's go, Derry! Breaking and straight.
Welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene. That's Raking and Scraping by Stalit. First of all, I don't like how y'all treat my cousin Stalit. Stalit been making phenomenal music that speaks to the culture and the experiences of Bahamians generally, family islanders specifically. And that song right there, We Raking and We Scraping, is one of the best modern Bahamian songs ever. Y'all don't get no play. It's like y'all ain't see the video. Y'all ain't see all them handsome Inagua man them in they linen suit dancing in the bar, and you ain't see Big Boy sculling on the ground, and then he do the splits. You ain't see this boy jumping there like my Officer Matthew, because you put respect on his name, from the RBDF, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force band. Y'all don't understand how this speaks to the Bahamian experience. A lot of what we're missing in this place is just empathy. Now, I have the Junkanoo Man on my show, and I play in Rake and Scrape because that's the only tension we should be having in this artist world. Which one we like more, Junkanoo or Rake and Scrape? That's it. That's the only thing we ever should be. Oh, and then no, you can't call it Johnny Bread. It's Johnny Cake. We ain't been rowing about that, right? So, Mr. Davis, is your group, is the group, because when we say your group, it focuses the conversation on conflict and like splitting is the only resolution. I don't get that impression. Of course, people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about or you're biased. I could declare my biases. I don't get that impression that it's about splitting, it's about keeping together. So is the Way Forward group registered for the Boxing Day and the New Year's Day parades?
Okay, so let me speak to that, the splitting. We never wanted to split. That was never an idea. I heard persons say, oh, why didn't you all go get your own name or form your own group? We built this. This group is built by every single member of the Valley Boys, not one individual or one family. I never see one person go down Bay Street yet and say the Valley Boys. I never see one family go down Bay Street and say that they the Valley Boys. This is collective effort for persons from years and years. Some already deceased, some already retired, some come back out of retirement. So let me just speak to that. Now let me speak to the registration part with the JCNP. Early this year, we would have taken our documents to the JCNP and presented our documents, so our official documents that speaks to our NPO, and asked the JCNP to review them. And they said to us at the time that there's someone else registered. The Valley Boys is already registered. And we was, how could the Valley Boys be registered if we have the documents? And so we know what happened after that. Mr. Dion Miller would have gone on record and said that Brian Adley is registered with the JCNP. Not the Valley Boys registered with the JCNP. And I think at that point would cause a lot of confusion because all we wanted to say to Mr. Miller at the time, look, we having some internal issues, and as soon as we sort it out, the Valley Boys will be on Bay Street. And so that's all you needed to do for that. And we're sorting out our internal issues. It's being sorted, as you can see, because only one name can be registered with the government. But he continued to say, now he retracted his statement and said the Valley Boys is registered and whatever comes out of our internal parliament will be on Bay Street. So it's only one Valley Boys, and you only can have one document for the Valley Boys. And that's what the members have. And that's why you see people are now, after it's being exposed, and the gentleman say, why we expose our dirty laundry? Now we exposing all of this. And so the public, because we owe the Bahamian people, as you always, we owe them an apology. We have to apologize for our fans. We have to apologize to our sponsors. We have to apologize to every single Bahamian for what has happened and what has happened over the last couple of years and why the Valley Boys in this situation.
Yeah.
We owe the people an apology, but I guarantee you we're going to get it together. We're going to fix it. And we get, like you said, we still have persons coming over. And so the door is not closed, but we're going to go down Bay Street Boxing Day and New Year's as one Valley Boys with proper structure, proper accountability and transparency.
Absolutely.
And that's the only way.
Nuri?
And I appreciate the word proper transparency and proper structure. But let me ask this question. Just recently, one of your major sponsors voiced concern about the group. Have any of, excuse me for how I word this, your grouping, because it's two groupings now, made overtures to your sponsor explaining what is happening so the sponsor cannot be concerned, paranoid that the group is falling apart?
Well, definitely for a sponsor, they will have concerns what is going on. I know we had an opportunity to sit down with the sponsor about a week or two ago. We put our position to the table. I know that the sponsor would have met with the other fraction and explained to them that what it is that we're doing. Well, they know what we're doing, but explain to them that what we offer, the offering is on the table. But it's simple, you know. And I'll say this publicly. The children already left Egypt. They're not going to allow Pharaoh to come back and lead them anymore.
Ah, boy, you're talking that Joshua generation talk now, Mr. Davis. I understand. I'm not a Valley member. I am a Junkanoo. I rush for the greatest scrap group in the history of Junkanoo, white people in the whole world, the spirit, except for the pigs and the Methuselahs, of course, right? And so I am invested. We also understand, and I hope that the wider audience understands that it's a delicate balance. Because see, either Junkanoo belongs to everybody or it belongs to nobody. Ain't nobody could tell me in this town that I don't have anything valuable to say or to contribute to Junkanoo. And surely you can't be around here telling people for your voice to be valid, you have to sit in the trenches and wait indefinitely. You'd be like the police officer that was on the news last weekend about, his retirement, and he had no commendations, right? Like, you all want people to just sit and slave away, and just knowing that I could sit at your feet supposed to be the prize, right?
Exactly.
That's it. It stinks, and I, as a insider and an outsider, am concerned that those who are in charge, those who deem themselves stakeholders and demand the authority and the respect, they have to acknowledge that either Junkanoo belongs to everybody or it belongs to nobody. I rowing y'all too. They took y'all too long.
Yes,
but I see you working on it.
You're working on
it. We're almost all out of time, so let me throw these couple texts out at you. The text that says, I read the text verbatim. Ask Trevor, had the Valley won the parades, does he think there would be a split?
What, with the previous parade?
Well, I think he's referencing the earlier part of the conversation
yeah.
when you talked about a sort of a deterioration or degradation in the performance of Valley in the parade.
If win or lose, it might have made our journey a little harder. But the reality is, we still have the people, once they understand that they need to be governed by a constitution, once they understand that there's structure and there's accountability, they was going to eventually come over. Yeah, the win will might have make it, we just win, why are you going through it? And that is what been playing on the mind of Junkanoos for years. We win and it ain't no problem. There's a lot of problems, not only in the Valley, but it's a lot of Junkanoo groups.
And we see that across
the board.
Across the other three spaces that I spoke to, the politics, to the church, to the unions. Well, we win, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
And that is plaguing us. And we're all out of time. Let me take this caller quickly, producer, and then I want you to play the overdose song to end out the show. I mean, I won't play it, but I got D-Mac. Anyway, you decide. Just know that's what I want to play, but you decide, producer, because you're a part of this ride, too. Caller, you got 30 seconds.
Erin, what I call to say, if I can rephrase it, if Mr. Davis wants to break away and form his own name, and because I think Roots did break off from the Wally.
But he said he don't want to break away.
Family break off from the Saxon.
But he doesn't want to break away.
The
but he doesn't want to break away. It's just the group want to stay together.
You want the group to stay together?
No, the group wants to stay together and have
elections.
Asked Mr. Davis to lead their attempt to maintain the group. They don't want to split.
Well, the way it seems, they split because one section Russian and this other section
No,
Russian.
they haven't split. They asking for an election. As soon as they have an election, you see everything come together. Just that someone does not want to have any elections. They say elections, they don't want.
I understand. It seems like it won't be a breakaway. All right, then.
Well, and I can understand why people would think that, because the language is on the other side creates a space. This is my interpretation. It creates a space where the only resolution could be a split. And I think that's another indicator of issues in the leadership culture when they only use divisive and exclusive language and don't understand the space that they're curating can only lead to that resolution, which is a split.
I say have an election and have a constitution. Nothing wrong with that, eh? You agree with that, eh?
Yeah, if they have that, if they decided, but if it sounds like some people.
Oh no, sir. I don't want to press this button, right? But you can't be taken and using taxpayer money without showing that your organization is structured.
It's stable. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of the impetus as well.
Yeah, and it's very important. And so persons, again, like the scholar, why we come out, we have to come out and we have to explain to every single behemoth the process we took to get here. And so that doesn't happen again in the future.
Now, I got a text here that says, Ms. Greene, you have to have Mr. Adley's side on. I'm going to ask Mr. Davis to give me Mr. Adley's number before he leaves here, and I put in the invite out open on the air. If you know Mr. Brian Adley, tell him.
I will know why you can't have elections.
And say it just like they say that young girl, say that child, she's a child to you. The junior girl say she want to talk to the senior man, Mr. Brian Adley. I come to the show and let's talk about it.
I want to talk about the Constitution.
Yeah, and Mr. Nuri say, come please. We got to go. We're all out of time. Producer, start playing that song. Mr. Nuri, in your hour, are you talking about the national honors?
What everyone talk about. I have nothing prepared, Erin.
I get to talk about my mommy.
I just gonna have an open line call to the show.
Listen, in case
talk about Constitution and lack thereof.
Just in case he changed his mind, on Order of Distinction companion Barbara Carey Burroughs.
Okay.
I grew up with her, Angela Missouri Sherman Peter.
And that's somebody's sister.
Yeah, that's all our sister, man. She's been a long-standing diplomat in the diplomatic space. Cynthia Gibbs, Leela Greene, Nakia Miyoshi Forbes. I think that's Dr. Nakia Forbes.
You didn't call Kate Moss yet, by the way.
We can talk about that.
Okay, if you want to talk about this, you have to talk about start off with Kate Moss, and I'll let you run off.
Okay, then I will do that, sir.
Thank you,
Davis,
guys.
Thank you.
Guys.
We got a concert coming up, right?
Yes. We have a concert coming up. The best of the best. Behemoth Explosion, Keep the Vibe Alive, Part 2. It was so nice. We have to do it twice. November 2nd. You hear it here for the first time.
Now, all your young people, I need you to call them and make sure you're all on that stage. And in particular, I mean, everybody on the Overdose Red Shirt Rhythm. I ain't forget your Bahamian trade. I ain't forget your vocab with your One Gal song. I ain't forget your Leon Greene. I gotta meet you because my daddy name was Leon Greene. I gotta find out if we's brother and sister, buddy, or cousins. But his song, Shake, I will get them all. Is Leon, is Shake, One Gal, Red Woman, is Red, just called Red. I can't remember the name of the artist. I couldn't play that because you say you may have to stretch her. You better be yoga. You better be talking about yoga. Don't be playing with these red girls. But the Red Shirt Rhythm is out, and it was my independence gift to see the young people take a gift from the older people and turn it into a better gift and re-gift it to all of us. You guys have a wonderful day. Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri is up next.
Listen, ladies, always remember, you love